All right, all right. So it looks like we're recording. Okay, okay. So thank you for joining. This is the Busara Trust. I'm glad you can make it here. My name is Tyrain L. Numerologist, forex trader, father, brother, husband, a lot of things. I wear a lot of different hats, but basically, I came up with a community, an online community called the Busara Trust, and basically, it's a community where we focus on three things: health, wealth, and knowledge of self. And we're going to start, see, by going to my actual website. I want you to be able to see. So you can, if you go to our website, you can kind of see how to navigate. So my website is tyraine.com. That's Tyraine. And this is my website right here. Can you see my website, Lee? Hello?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool, cool. So
Yeah, it's up
yeah,
there.
all right, cool. So if you come down to my website, just a little bit on how to use this. This is a video um that basically is just a little explainer video about the Busara Trust. But if you scroll down further, you notice we had three tabs: health, wealth, and knowledge of self. So if you click on the health tab, that's going to take you to the health aspect that we focus on. And we just basically focus on diet, Dr. Sabi's information. These are two books I recommend. This book is by Dr. Layla Africa. It's basically a self diagnosis book. So you can get this book and go through it, and it will show you all the different things that's wrong with you and possible ailments that you may have based on different functions of different parts of the body. It's very thorough, it's a lot of pictures. Very good book. I highly recommend it. And this is a book with Dr. Sabi, just an interview and him kind of giving his views on how he views things. And so obviously that's good information there. Cycles of healing. This is just some information based on traditional Chinese medicine. You can go over this at your leisure. Anybody who signs up will get a list of foods recommended by Dr. Sabi, excuse me, and some other information regarding health. If you scroll down a little further, you will see the Qigong. This is one of my martial arts instructors. He's actually based in the greater Atlanta area. I used to train with him live in person, but because of COVID, everything is kind of online. So he has an online website. If you click on this link right here, you see it will take you to the Qigong classes. And these are free classes, so anybody can take them, not just people who are a member of the Busara Trust, but anybody honestly can take them. It's pretty wide open for anyone, but I do offer that as well. And if you scroll down further, this is one of my other martial arts instructors, like Burley. He does have an online course. This is more for self defense, but he does 52 block boxing. And I have a link as well to there. And if you click on that link, it'll go here. And if you got a son or even a daughter that's in middle school or high school, I highly recommend this. This is something he gives you one lesson a day, and you just practice that one, and then the next day you get another lesson, and you get a lesson every day. And this is a great way to bond with your young one. If you have a child that's in middle school, single moms, you can actually go through the boxing techniques with your son. It's instructional step by step, very efficient. Fathers, it's a great bonding time with your daughters or your sons, and just to teach them how to defend themselves. So that's something we promote. Um, so you have that. On the X side of that, you have the Tai Chi classes, and that's kind of the only thing under health. Then the next tab is wealth. If you see right there, you can click at the top, goes to wealth. Wealth, we deal with Forex, and we're going to get into that today. But Forex, this just kind of breaks down what is Forex. And we also deal with credit. Credit is important. And once you learn to trade, a lot of times people want to know, well, where am I going to get the money to start off trading? And this is where you can get the money from credit. If you have good credit, you can then go borrow $1,000 from the bank and never look back. The thing about Forex is Forex does not make you money. You don't make money in Forex. Forex allows you to multiply the money you already have. Let me repeat that. Forex does not make you money. It allows you the ability to multiply the money you already have. So that's important because obviously, if you don't have any money, zero times any number is always zero. So you got to have some money to trade with. But the beautiful thing about Forex is you can start in a demo account and practice. I know somebody that practiced for a year straight in their demo before they ever went live. And once they went live, they was killing them. So you practice makes perfect, and the demo will put you in a limo. So just keep that in mind. Then we go to knowledge of self, which is the last tab. If you go here, this shows you the book that you will need to order for the class. This book is not written by me. I don't get any proceeds off of it. This is an affiliate link. So if you click through here, it is affiliate link, but you can go to Amazon, buy it used. It doesn't matter. But you will need this book. It's the only book you'll need. And I can teach you the system with that. We have shop where we have different services that we offer. Um, some different clothing lines with my logo. Just some basic stuff that you can go in and get. So I just wanted to show you that and kind of give you an idea. But now let's actually get to why we're here. So start here. Again, my name is Tyrane L, aka Ty Sticks the More. And that's who I am. So again, I'm a Moorish American, but first and foremost, I'm a numerologist. I was that before anything, and I got into forex. Been in it about 4 years, and took me about three to become a successful trader. Takes about 18 months to learn. So anybody who's looking to learn it, be ready to dedicate at least 18 months. That's about average. I was doing it part time while working, so it took me a little longer. But everybody's learning curve is different. Some people I've seen learning in 3 months. I know a guy that took 9 years to learn it, but now he makes 10,000 a week. So I mean, it is what you make it, but it's definitely an opportunity to really see your finances increase. So this is what we have here. Just a little bit about me, and I actually want to get into numerology. We're going to start with numerology and numbers. So the reason that we're doing numerology and forex together as a complete system is because numerology and forex have a lot of things in common. Numerology is basically math. That's all it is. It's a science. It basically says that numbers have vibrational frequencies which can be measured. Numbers can be read. Numbers are quantitative as well as qualitative. So you can use numbers to add things up. Like I have one pencil, I have two pencils. That's quantity. Numbers also can represent quality or characteristics. So somebody might say, I have to take a number two. That means I have to take a dump. In that context, you know, number two means use the bathroom. Or number one, I got to pee. So we know that number one and number two can mean that in that context. It also has other meanings as well. And we're going to go through the numbers. So when you look at numbers, numbers is basically a form of communication. And I believe it is the communication of the creator, the most high. He communicates through us through numbers. And the way numerology works is that everything goes through cycles. You have cycles of nine. You go through a cycle every 9 years, every 9 months, and every 9 days. And it can be mathematically calculated. It's like a wheel within a wheel within a wheel. And this is how you understand numerology. But more importantly, this is also how you understand Forex. Forex goes through cycles. And when you understand that it just constantly repeats itself in different variations, you can then back test and calculate those cycles. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want you to understand the correlation between numerology and Forex and why they're important. So I want to run through the cycles in in numerology, just so you understand the cycles or how the numbers work. So it's only nine numbers, one through nine, and each number has a meaning. And we're going to go through those numbers now. So I like to use the story of Adam and Eve to explain how the numbers work. And according to the story in Genesis, Adam was first, and Adam was a man. So one represents man. So one equals man. After Adam came Eve. So 2 would be woman. After woman, man, woman, then comes child. So 3 would equal child. After child, then they build a house to live in. So 4 represents builder. After they have a house to live in, then they explore their area. So 5 represents freedom. After they explore their area, then they get their home in order or their family in order. So 6 represents family. After they get their family in order, then they get in tune with God. So 7 represents God. After they get in tune with God, then they get the money and the power. So 8 represents power. And after they get the power, then they give it all away. So 9 is compassion. And that is the highest level that you can get to. So these are what numbers 1 through 9 represent in a esoteric numerological sense. These are what these numbers represent. And they don't just represent those ideals, but they represent qualities or characteristics. And I'm going to go through the characteristics for each number. So man can represent original, independent, aggressive, individualistic, creative, dominant, the first in a series, the start of any operation or activity, the leader, the pioneer, the boss who likes authority, and he who goes forth. So number 2 we know as woman, and some of the key words would be adaptability, tactful, understanding, gentle, cautious, a follower rather than a leader. Excuse me. Number 3 represents child. And the key words would be expansive, sociable, dramatic, communicative, diversified, and creative. 4 represents builder. Keywords would be form, work, order, practicality, construction, stability, endurance, and discipline. Excuse me. Number 6 means freedom. And keywords would be versatility, resourcefulness, adaptability, change, activity, travel, adventure, promotion, and speculation. 6 represents family. Some of the key words would be family and social responsibility, service, love, companions, counseling, healing, and creativity. Number 7 represents God. Some of the key words would be quiet, introspective, intuitive, analytical, inspirational, reclusive, philosophical, and mystical. Number 8 represents power. Some of the key words would be power, responsibility, financial rewards, good judgment, recognition, and karma. And number 9 represents compassion. Some of the key words would be love, compassion, patience, universality, tolerance, selfless service, and endings. So those are numbers 1 through 9, and those are certain characteristics and things that they mean. And once you understand how these work, you can then read into these numbers and read into these characteristics or these qualities and kind of tell what's going on in your life. Now, this is important with Forex because when you deal with Forex, no two people are the same. So your trading system is going to have to be based on who you are. And, I can show you what I know, but if you don't apply it to yourself and have knowledge yourself and understand how you like to trade or how you like to operate, then it's never going to work. So the key to trading is learning to master yourself. So if you're a man, a number 1, then you will probably be more aggressive with your trading, as opposed to if you're a number 2, then you may have a different trading style. And this has to go back to trading psychology. And when you trade, any real trader will tell you 2 of the most important things that you can learn in Forex or any type of trading for that matter is psychology and risk management. And psyche actually goes back to the soul. And when you start dealing with psychology and the psyche, you actually can gather a lot of information about your psychology from the numerology and from your chart. Now, when we start to look at the numbers, there's a couple of things we look at. We can look at the name and we can look at the birthday. Right now, I like to stick with the name, with the birthday, because the birthday doesn't change. The name changes. So if you change your name, you can change your vibrational frequency, meaning you can just change certain things about who you are as a person. People will see you different and interact with you differently. If you have a nickname in the streets and people know you by one name, I always use the the story of Minister Society and Old Dog. In the movie, his real name was Kevin, but he was Old Dog in the streets. And as Old Dog, people knew him as a killer, but as Kevin, he wasn't seen like that because when Kane's mom and him was talking to him, they was calling him Kevin. They didn't look at him as a killer. So it's that name can really change in how you interact with the rest of the world. So I'm not getting into names right now because that's a whole nother topic, but your birthday does not change. So we can start with your birthday. And when we look at your birthday, is two distinct numbers in particular that we like to look at. One is called the personality number, and that's when you add the month you were born plus the day you were born. And that's how you get the personality number. So that's just one aspect. Then the second would be your life lesson number. And this is what you're here to become. And that's the month you were born plus day you were born. Hold on, let me pull this up. Day you were born. Mm, this thing is acting crazy. Let me see. Hold on. Month you were born plus day you were born plus year of your last birthday. So this is how you determine these numbers. And for instance, to give an example, if you were born on January the 9th, that would equal 10. So you would be a 10, which means you would be a number one. And so those qualities or characteristics that I read about number one would then apply to you. So this is how you kind of figure out your two numbers. And these numbers are the most important numbers in your makeup. However, there's other numbers as well that will play a part in who you are and how you interact with the world. But understanding those two numbers are vital. And once you understand those two different numbers, that can kind of help you decide on what type of trader you want to be and how you want to address the markets. Now, when it goes through these cycles, like I said, you go through a cycle every 9 years, every 9 months, and every 9 days. Now, I'm not going to give out the formula to calculate your year and month and day and all of that. That's something we will get into later. But when you understand that you go through these cycles every 9 years, every 9 months, and every 9 days, this will then give you advantages on certain days when it's better to trade and some days when you probably shouldn't trade at all. And these are just based on natural progression cycles that you'll go through in your life. And everybody's had those days where they wake up and like, oh man, today it just felt like everything went my way. And then you have other days when you kind of get up and you feel like you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and nothing seems to go your way that day. And these are just natural progressions, natural cycles that everyone goes through. Everyone has their good days and their bad days, their ups and their downs. It's just a part of life. And understanding when these days are coming is something that you can take advantage of when it comes to Forex as well as numerology. So this is the the main thing that we like to emphasize here at the Busara Trust is the knowledge itself, understanding who you are, what your purpose is, why you're here, and the numerology will give you that. It will also give you your power days, when to trade, when days that you should not trade, and maybe you should be focusing on something else. So this is key, and this is one of the things that we teach here. Now, as far as our trading is concerned, we're going to get into drawing up some charts. I'm not going to get too deep into the numerology today. I just wanted to touch on the basics. And now we're going to go ahead on and get into some Forex. So let's switch our screen up. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually go to Trading View. So anybody can pull up Trading View. Trading View, this is the website. It's tradingview.com. Wow. Pull it back up again. Tradingview.com. So this website is free. Anybody can go on it. You can register for free. I recommend that you register and set up an account, a free account. And this is the platform that we use to draw up our charts. We draw up our charts. So with the Busara Trust, one of the things that we do here, besides teach people to trade and teach people numerology, we encourage the qigong exercises and the healthy diet, but we don't. It's not compulsory. It's not mandatory. This isn't a cult. You don't have to participate if you don't want. That's something that you would participate in your own time. But what we do as far as our trading style is our goal is to make trading passive. So we do trading on the longer time frames. So we do what is known as swing trading. There's multiple styles of trading. There's scalping, there's nibbling, there's swing trade, there's position trade, there's day trade. So you have to kind of decide what type of trader you are. And that's going to depend on your schedule. Do you work a 9 to 5? Do you work first shift, second shift, third shift? Do you work part time? Do you work weekends? Whatever your schedule is, we can find a session for you. The Forex market opens Sunday evening at 5 p.m. and it closes 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Now, the Busard Trust, our classes are every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. I think I may be changing that to 7 to 9 just to give people a little more time. But I like to do it Sunday evening because that's right when the market's open. So what we'll be looking for is we will be looking to see if we can see which direction the market is going for the week. I like to get runs. I like to get in a trade and be in it for a couple of days. Now, while you're learning to trade, I do give out signals as well. And I want to touch briefly on my signals before we start drawing up a chart. The signals I give out is based on the daily chart, and I give it right before the close of the daily candle, which closes at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I've been a part of different groups, different trading groups, different mentors I've had. Shout out to Dr. Spiller. Uh, Shout out to Jay Takes Profit, Jay Wayne, very phenomenal trader. I've studied under some of these guys and took their courses, and I learned a lot. But one thing I noticed with the signals that they send out is their signals come out all hours of the night. I mean, you might get a signal at 3 a.m., you might get one at 1 a.m., you might get one at 11 a.m. I mean, and I don't know about you, but I have a life. I don't have time to be looking at my phone every 5 minutes. And with Instagram messages and Telegram messages and text messages and cell phone calls and emails, your phone is consistently going off and it's easy to miss the trade setups. So the way I do it is I only send out trades based on daily, and I send out my trades between 4:30 and 4:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that way, if you do decide to become a member, you know that you don't have to check your phone until around 4:50 and just watch it until about 4:55, 4:56. If I haven't sent you a trade by then, I'm probably not gonna send one for the day. And, you know, we only obviously trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because the market closes at 5 p.m. on Friday. So you will have 4 days in a week in which to take my trades. I may send out 2 to 3 a week. And that's kind of how my trades go. Because they're on the daily, the stop loss is quite a few pips. You might be risking 30, 40 pips. But the take profit, I don't give take profits because I don't know how many days it's gonna go. But I show people how to adjust their stop loss so that they don't take a loss. And right now, our trades is probably at about a 75% win rate. It was as high as 85 at one point. It fluctuates, but we're doing pretty good. So this is just to let you guys know how our trades, our setups work. We don't send setups, we send actual signals. So I give you the actual pair to trade. I tell you to sell or buy, and I give you a stop loss. I don't give you a take profit, but I do give you a stop loss. So now that I've went over that, let's look at a pair, and I want to show you how we kind of look at our pairs for the week. So we're going to start with GBP. Now we're going to start with AUDJPY. AUDJPY. So this is Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're going to go to Owanda. That's the broker we use whenever we draw up our charts on TradingView. Because we're in America and Owanda is American broker that is regulated. So we like to use them. Their numbers tend to be very accurate. So this is a trade setup that I already actually have put in, but I'm going to actually erase this and start from scratch. So I have a few moving averages here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put this in full screen mode. So we're going to make it bigger so that everybody can see. We move this down here. Make sure everybody can see. Now, what I like to do is a couple of things I like to do, but I like to use a couple of moving averages. If you notice, I have the 200 moving average, which is yellow. I have the 50 moving average, which is orange. I have the 9 moving average, which is red. I have the 13 moving average, which is black, and the 21, which is blue. So if you really pay attention, and this is on the daily, you can really use this system right here to help. And you can kind of see once it crosses these lines and you see that crossover, that's a buy. And when it crosses over, when the blue crosses over at the top, that's a sell. When the red is at the top, that's a buy. And I'm not really going to go over this right now per se. I just wanted to kind of put that out here. This is a strategy that you can use. So I'm actually giving this out. But right now, I really want to focus on how we draw up our charts. So the first thing we like to do is we go to the monthly chart. So we're going to start on the monthly. And we like to do this so that we can try to get runs. We can try to catch a run for, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week. If you can get a week's run, that's excellent. So the first thing we do, we go to the monthly chart. We come over to the side where you see the numbers here and you drag up. This allows you to move the screen up and down. This allows you to get a aerial view, a full view of what we're looking at. I like to make mine a little bit bigger so I can kind of see what we're working with. And now the goal is to find support and resistance. So support and resistance is probably one of the most important things that you can learn when trading. Just to explain briefly what support and resistance is, this is kind of how it works. So you have a top, which would be resistance, and a bottom, which would be support. And the market moves like this. Basically, it moves like this, side to side. Then it'll go up, come back down, come up, back down, come up, down. It'll come up, down, up, down, up, down. Then it'll come back, and it'll go from zone to zone. So when you trade Forex, the market can only go in 3 ways. So it's only 3 ways that the market can go. It can go sideways. This is called consolidation. It can go up. This is called the uptrend. Or it can go down. And this is called the downtrend. So you know that it's either going up, down, or sideways. So the goal with us is to catch the trade when it's going up or when it's going down. When it's going sideways, you're not really making a lot of money. However, you can still come in and scalp and make a little bit of money, but the most of your money is going to be made when it's going up or when it's going down. So now that we got that out of the way, and you know the three ways that the market moves, which is sideways, up, and down, now I want to show you support and resistance. So the easiest way, let me clear this screen. The easiest way to draw support and resistance is to find a spot where you have a green candle and a red candle side by side, just like this. And when you see side by side like this, and you notice that they're right at the same spot, that is a zone, a support and resistance line. So you have this one right here. And if you notice right here, it kind of still hit here again. It hit here again. So this is how you can see where the support and resistance line is. Now, one of the easier ways to see it is to go up to the top and find this line. You would have to click on this and go to line. If you go to line, you notice that you have these V's. Looks like V's or W's and M's. Notice this looks like a W, but if you notice these points, you can actually put the line on these points on the monthly chart, and that will give you your line zone. So you can put one there. Now, when we do these lines, we don't want to be too far away from where the market is. The market is right here. This number in blue that you see that is changing in this dotted line, this is where the market is currently. So you want to be somewhere near there. You don't really need to be all the way down here, for instance, because the market is up here. So what we do is we find out where the market is on the monthly, and we go find the tip of the V, and we just go ahead on and put our line there. And we like to do 4 lines, 4 to 5 lines. So we got a V here. We got 2 points here. The more points that hit it, the stronger that is. You got one right here, and you got one right here. And you actually have one right here as well. But we're going to just focus on these for now. So when you go back to the candlesticks, now you can see that you kind of right here on the body of the candle. So when you have a candlestick, you have the body of the candle, which can be green. That's bull. That's going up. That's a buy. Or you can have a red, which is a bear, and that's going down. That's a sell. Then you also have something known as wicks. So you have a wick here, a wick here. Um, so when you look at a candlestick, you have the body of the candle, which is this part, and then you have the wick of the candle. Now, when you look at this wick and you see these numbers at the top of the screen here, let me box these numbers in. This is really important. When you trade, you want to be able to be very accurate. And these numbers here, the O stands for the open, the H stands for the high, the low, L stands for the low, which is the low end, the end of the wick, and the C stands for close. Now, on a bull candle, which is going up, it opened here. Get an arrow. It opened here and it closed here. However, even though even though it opened here and it closed here, it went all the way up to here. So this top of the wick is the high, and it went all the way down here. So this bottom of the wick is the low. Now, if you look at the red candle, it's the opposite. This one opened right here, and it closed all the way down here. That's the close. However, at one point, it got as high as here and it went as low as here. So the high and low will always be the top. The high will always be the top wick. The low will always be the bottom wick. The open and close, depending on which candle. On a bullish candle, which is going up, the open will be at the bottom and the close will be at the top. On a bearish candle, which is going down, the open will be at the top and the close will be at the bottom. And the reason that's important is because if you notice we have these lines here, we actually want to look at where to make this very accurate. You want to put the cursor on this actual candlestick. And if you notice that at the open, which is the top, it opened here and it closed here on this red candle. If you look at the top, the open is 82.979. If you go to the candle next to it, the green one, you will notice that okay, so on this one, you'll notice that the open is 82979. On this one, you'll notice that the close is 82979 because this one started here and closed up here. So you'll notice that the close on this candle is the open on this candle. And that should make sense because it went up, then it went over here and went down. So when you see that, in order to be accurate, you can then click on this here and you can go down into the actual line and you can put the actual numbers in so that you're accurate. So 82979, you go to coordinates, 82979. So this is a trick that a lot of professional traders, this is what they do. But a lot of stuff you see on YouTube, they usually won't tell you this. They won't tell you to go in and put those coordinates in so that way your entry is very, very sharp. So since we have that line, we can do the same thing over here. So if you notice these two candles, you have the one that it opened here, it closed at the bottom, opened here and closed at the top. Remember, on the red candle, it opens at the top and closes at the bottom. On the green candle, it opens at the bottom and closes at the top. So if you look at the close, this is 85147. The open is 85147. So you click on that line, and I have it right just so you can see. Hold on. So this is the line. You click on this settings, and this is how you set the coordinates. And you just drag your cursor over the candlestick, and it'll tell you the coordinates. So this closes on 85147. So once we change that, bam. We can go to this one and do the same thing again. This one opened at 82066, closed at 82066. So that's what we're going to go with. 82. It's closed at, it's closed at 79886. This opened at This opened at 79886. So 79886. This is what we're going to use. Okay. And even this one, we can go down here and we can use the top of this wick right here, which is 77116. 6. Bam. Okay, so now that we have our support and resistance lines drawn, now what we have to do, let me erase, I need to erase this. Now I'm just basically showing you how to draw up a chart for the week. So once you've done that, now you need to find the zone. So support and resistance is not a line. A lot of people, will show you a line. Oh, this is support and resistance. Support and resistance is actually a zone. And the line which sits on the body of the candle is part of the zone, but the wick is the other part. So you notice you got these wicks, and this gives you the width of the zone. And so when you see a bunch of wicks, kind of like this one here, this is a good example. I made it a little bigger, but if you notice, you got all these different wicks. Some of these are real high, some of these are medium high, but you want to try to find the ones that kind of are around the same level. And if you notice, these two both are around the same level. So if you click there, you have a zone here. And if you notice how it kind of comes in this zone and it turns around. These couple of wicks went past it, but this would have been too high. So you just want to kind of keep it. You don't want to get it too high, but you really want to try to find these zones and where these wicks go. And in order to be accurate, we can again put in our coordinates by hovering over this. If you see the high is on this green candle is 83929. It's red candle. 83926. So if you click on here, 9, we can go to 9929. Bam, there you go. And in order to make sure that we're clear on where the zone is, we can now put in this red triangle. And in order to make sure that it's very accurate, what we do is we draw the triangle on here. We click on coordinates and we use these same coordinates here so that way we can fill this whole zone up. And the reason we're doing this is so that once it gets in this area, we know that it has a high probability of either turning around, or if it passes this zone, it's going to keep going. So these are also known as reversal zones. So the first thing we want to do is put in our coordinates. So we go 83.929, and we're getting these coordinates right from here. And if you notice, when I click that, it lines right up perfectly with this line. Then at the same thing at the bottom, 82979, 979, bam. Now, if you put a negative in front of that number, doesn't matter what the number is, add a couple zeros, and then at the bottom, no negative, just add 2 zeros, it will stretch it out the whole way. And now you can see we have a complete zone already drawn, and now we can see, okay. And the beautiful thing about this is we can back test and go back and see what happens when the market gets in this area. And you notice every time it gets to this area, it kind of rejects, or if it breaks through, it comes back and retests on that area. So that's a zone right there. So now that we've drawn in that zone, what we like to do is go in and click on this line right here that we drew initially and get rid of it. And the reason we do that is so that there's not so many numbers on the side here, because it'll start to confuse you. So that's one zone. Now it looks like we can draw another zone here. We got a line here, and we have some wicks underneath. So what we can do is look, remember, we want these zones to be about the same size. So if you look, bam, that's about the same size right there. And if you notice, this body lands directly on here. So this would be a great place to put your zone. So if you look If you notice, this one opens here, it closes here, which is 79200, which is the opening on the red candle, 79200. Again, I'm getting that number from the top up here, the OHLC. The O is open, the H is high, the L is low, the C is closed. When you go to the candle, you can see if it's green, you know the open is at the bottom, the close is at the top. On red, the open is at the top, close is at the bottom. So now with that being said, we can click on this. It's going to be 79,200. So now we have another zone. So we can do the same thing we did on the last one, which is draw that in. Stretch this out a little bit so we can see. And what we want to do is we want to use those coordinates. So the first coordinate is 79.886. The next coordinate is 79,200. Again, we want to go to this number, put a negative in front of the number, draw some zeros, and some zeros after it. So what y'all have to realize is one thing with Forex, the name of the game and how you get good is drawing up charts, drawing up support and resistance and drawing up charts. So, but we're going to keep drawing this one up and we'll get into that a little more. So now when we look at this one, we need to find another zone and we may be able to use this candle right here. If you notice this right here, it kind of landed right on it. And this land hit here. So you want to kind of find an area where it looks like it keeps coming and hitting. You don't want to be too far down, but you want to make sure that you have enough room where you can see that the candle wick is coming within this zone. And you see that it keeps rejecting it here. So this is a great space. We're actually going to use this and we'll use this candle right here. So if you notice, it opened down here and it closed up here, which is 76593. So we'll click on there, 76593. Bam. And we'll do the same thing again. Put this in. So that way we can 77116. We're using the coordinates. Again, we're using this coordinate right here, 77116. Put a negative in front this number. Add a couple zeros. 76593, 593, 000. Bam. So now we want to go back and get rid of this line here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. So there we go. Now we have quite a few zones that we've drawn. This is good for now. We'll start here. So we'll bring it back down. And if you look at it, now we have a couple of zones here. And again, this is on the monthly chart. You have a couple of zones on the monthly. So now that you've gotten your 3 to 4 zones on the monthly, the next step is to come down to the weekly. So we come down to the weekly chart. And these charts that we're going down to, the weekly, the monthly, that just means that each candlestick represents that amount of time. So each of these candles represent 1 week. If we're on the monthly, then each of these represent 1 month. If we're on a daily, then each of these represents 1 day. So that's all that means. But right now we're on the weekly. We already drew up our support and resistance on the monthly. Now we're on the weekly. And now that we're on the weekly, what we're going to look for is a trend line. So a trend line is going to be diagonal. The support and resistance is horizontal like this, but the trend line will be diagonal. And I will draw one here. It looks like we may have a trend line here. And this is how you determine if you're on an uptrend or a downtrend. And as you can see clearly, this has been going up for weeks. And this is the type of trades that we look for here. We don't want people to be in a trade for, an hour. We're not scalping. We're teaching people to get in a trade and be in it for a little while because it becomes passive. If you had got in this trade a couple weeks ago, um, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this has been going up 11 weeks. It's starting to come back down a little bit, but as you can see, had you got in right here, you would have been able to ride this all the way up. And just so you can see the pip count, we got in here and made it all the way here. That's 681 pips. So this is the type of trades that we're looking for. If you notice, the drawdown was not much. Had you got in this trade around here, you would have only risked 40. You would have only risked 45 pips. So you would have risked 45 pips to make over 680 pips right now. It went up to 717. So it went as high as 717 and it may keep going up. I have a strong feeling that this is going to end up hitting this red line and then reversing, but I'm not sure yet. But we're going to look at the market and see. That's what our goal is to determine. So now that we've drawn that up on the weekly, now we go down to the daily. Hit auto so that we can get it back in tune. We'll shrink this down a little bit, come in a little bit, and now we can kind of see what we're looking for. So if you notice, this trade is going up, came back down, went up, came back down, went up. It consolidated, went up, consolidated, came back down, went up, came down, went up, came down, went up. It's coming down some. So this is the trajectory of the trade. And in order to see this, I like to show it. Let me see. I want to be able to show this in a better way so that you can really see what I'm talking about. If you put it on the line chart, you can kind of see it here. See how it's just going up and down and it's staying within this channel. This is called a channel right here. And it's just staying within this channel. And we put it back on here. And if you notice, it's just bouncing up and down, but it's steady going up. And this is on the daily. So now that we have this set up, what we're waiting for is a break. So we're either waiting for it to come back and break this line at some point. Once it breaks this line, it's probably going to keep down to this line, or it may touch this line and come back up. So the goal is to wait and see what it does. But the key is we've drawn the market up. So we have this thing drawn up to see what it's going to do. And once it breaks this channel, once it breaks this channel or breaks, like really this would have been a good time to get in once it broke this support and resistance. You see that it pulled back a little bit, not much, but I think it's going to come back down here and still continue to go up. But we'll have to keep monitoring this. You can still draw support and resistance on the daily as well. But what I like to do is to draw the trend line on the weekly. Now that we've kind of seen it from the daily, we can go back to the weekly. And what we'll do is we can look for support and resistance on the weekly. If you notice this green candle here, the close is 86.52. The open is 86.52. So we know that that is a zone. So what we'll do is we'll draw a line right here. And 86.52, we're going to actually put in those coordinates. 52, just so that we'll have that and know that, okay, we're at a major space. So what we're going to have to do is we can do the same thing we did on the daily, where we can look at the wick, find the height the high, which is 89.28. Click on this, 89.28. And now you have a support, a resistance zone on the weekly. Now, since we got red for the monthly zone, for the weekly zone, we're going to do yellow. So what we're going to do is come in and we're going to box this in just like we did on the last one. And we're going to use the same technique. I'm going to go in 80.928, 80.652, put in a negative, add some zeros, go to style, background, and we'll make it yellow. And the reason we do that so that we'll know the difference between the monthly and the weekly. Then you can go in and erase these lines just like the last one. Bam. Now you actually have a resistance line on the weekly, and you have a support line on the monthly. So you actually have the chart, the market boxed in. So right now you have the market boxed in based on the weekly and the monthly. So it has nowhere to go but up or down. And you have a channel drawn on the weekly. So now when you come down to the daily, you can kind of see that you are right there. And this is more than likely will probably end up coming down and touching this line. But as you can see, you have a zone right here for the weekly. You have your zone here for the monthly. And on the daily, it's steady going down. And so you can also go to the 4-hour, and we look at our 4-hour. And as you can see, it rejected it off of the weekly. It came in, it hit it, it rejected it, and now it's coming back down. And this is how you draw up a chart on the weekly time frame, on the monthly, daily, and weekly. Now, another tip that you can do when you enter, I like to enter a lot of times on a 4-hour chart. So even though I drew everything up on the monthly and the weekly, you can now bring it down to the 4-hour, and you can also do a trend line on the 4-hour. So we have a line right here. Once this passes this zone, once it breaks this line, it should make it to this red. And if you take it just from here to here, that's 29 pips. And if you do twin trading, you do multiple positions, that's 60 pips. If you did 2 positions, that's 60 pips. And I mean, that's enough money to eat off of. So once you understand how to draw these lines, how to draw these support and resistance, and how to draw these trend lines on the different time frames, then this will help you kind of gauge where it's going for the week. But again, our goal is to catch a run. Our goal here at the Busara Trust, the way we trade is we want it to be passive. We don't want people to be up all night trying to trade. I trade in the middle of the night, but I trade a little more aggressive than some people. But for my members and for people who are part of our community, everybody doesn't have time for that. So we wanted to give trades and teach people how to trade on the longer time frames. A lot of people that come in will have to do 10-cent trades because if you have $100 in your account, you don't want to have too much risk. So you want to maybe do 10 cent, but again, we might risk 40, 50 pips for 500, 600 pips. So, when you see the level of trading we're doing, it's amazing. Riding these longer time frames. I have another system that I use to help determine if it's a good trade or not using certain indicators. I'm not going to get into all that today, but I just wanted to show you briefly how to draw up on the monthly, weekly, and daily, and how to chart out your system. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm about to sign out on this live, and I'm going to get back with you soon. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at the Busara Trust, Tyrann.com. You can find us there. And the Busara Trust is the name of our community. And we hope that some of you will come check us out. If you have any questions, again, just reach out to us, email us, and let us know. And if we can help in any way, that's what we want to do. It's all about health, wealth, and knowledge of self. We'll see you soon. Peace.